Hey y'all, it's Shama of the Yarn This podcast. I'm Jesse's Girl 84 on Ravelry, Instagram, and Twitter, although I don't use Twitter very often. Today I'd like to talk to you, sorry I'm looking down, I'm knitting at the same time. Today I'd like to talk to you a little bit about my weight loss surgery. I spent most of my life struggling with my weight from high school on, pretty much. And I would lose weight and then it would come back and it would come back mysteriously, miraculously. I had nothing to do with it. Anyway, I'm kidding, of course. I finally decided that maybe I should try weight loss surgery. My parents actually said, if you'll do it, we'll pay for it. So we also decided that going through insurance was not the way to do it because they make you wait for so long and jump through so many hoops to do it. So I knew that if we did it in Houston without insurance, it was going to be about $25,000. That's insane. Where my brother lives in Tyler, it was going to be half that. So I went to Tyler and had an introductory type meeting at a weight loss doctor's office along with a bunch of other people, and I scheduled my weight loss surgery that day. Well, we were all going to be at my parents' that weekend. It was in January, and my husband and brother were working on oil rigs at the time, so we just had to have our Christmases when we could. So we were meeting at my parents' that weekend, and we were all going to have our Christmas together. And my brother said, hey, why don't we go to Mexico and have our surgery? And I said, are you crazy? I'm not about to go to Mexico and have surgery. Well, he was telling me about people he knew through other people who had done it, and so he just decided he was going to delve into it. Well, by Monday morning, he had already talked to somebody. I talked to this woman who we were friends with on Facebook and actually got to meet one time. She sent us the paperwork. We had our surgery scheduled quickly, and we were ready to go. Like I said, that was probably around the first part of January, and our surgery was scheduled for February 15th. So, yes, the 15th. So we had to lose a little weight. We had to go on a special high protein, no carbs diet. And then the last, I think it was 2 or 3 days, it was all liquid, that was tough. But anyway, we did it. And my brother was working somewhere up north at the time, and he flew to Dallas. My older son drove me to Dallas, and we met there and flew from there to Mexico. Even though I live in Houston, that was just the best place for us to fly from. So we got on the plane, and it was just about a 2.5-hour flight down to Puerto Vallarta, which is a very nice place to go for surgery. Since it is a tourist attraction, everything there is safe and nice, and the way it works is you fly in, they pick you up at the airport, they take you to your hotel, they pick you up, take you to the hospital, back to the hotel, and back to the airport. You don't have to deal with anything. You pay for your surgery, and your surgery covers the surgery plus the accommodations, and then the only other thing you have to pay for is your airline ticket. So we had it all scheduled, and we flew down there, and I was nervous. I was extremely nervous, but I was glad not to be alone. I know some people go alone and do this, but I couldn't have done that. So we flew in that night. It was a Friday, and they took us straight down to the hospital, and we had to have some blood work and stuff done. And then they took us to the hotel, which was a resort on the beach. It was amazing. It was beautiful. And but that night we were tired, and we were hungry, and we were still drinking all liquids, and I personally was very nervous. And so we Skyped with my parents and probably my boys, and then we went to sleep, and we were up real early the next morning, and they took us in, and they got you prepped for surgery, and then it was the waiting. And I have a bit of a story to tell with that. I told my brother to go ahead and go first because after we got to the hospital that day, I was beyond calm. I couldn't even believe it. And so I just waited in my room, and I knitted, and I watched podcasts, and I didn't feel the least bit nervous about any of it. So they wheel you down, and what they have is they have a dedicated operating room for this because so many people go down there to have it done. I was on the gurney waiting to be wheeled in, and they wheeled my brother out. And I was like, oh, I was looking at him, and he started saying, "Oh, it hurts, it hurts. I think I'm having a heart attack." And at first I thought he was doing it to scare me. And I lay there, and the more he did that, all the lack of fear just completely reversed, and I was washed in fear, like shivering. It was cold because it's operating area, and then the fear, and I was just shaking, and I had all these irrational thoughts like, I've got to jump off this thing and get out of this hospital. Well, all I had on was a hospital gown. I was in a country where I don't speak the language. But I thought, I got to get out of here. In a minute, I thought, no, don't be ridiculous. This is what's going to happen. My brother finally looked over at me and he said, "Oh, I'm sorry I didn't see you there." Well, it turns out that he had to have some extra surgery because he had a hernia, a hiatal hernia, I believe. And so he was in considerable more pain than I was, considerably more pain. Anyway, they wheeled me in, and the boy that wheeled me in said, "Are you okay?" And I said, "No, I'm so scared now." And they took me in, and the anesthesiologist was in there, and he was a very nice guy. The doctor, the nurse, and the anesthesiologist were great. And he said, "Are you scared?" And I said, "Yes, I'm so scared. My brother's in so much pain. What's going to happen?" And he said, "Don't worry about it. You're going to be fine." And I thought, okay, he's probably right. And he had started the IV, and I said, "You already started the anesthesia, didn't you?" And that is literally like everything started going blocky, and that's the last thing I remember. And then they woke me up, and I was in recovery, and that was it. I didn't have pain like my brother did. I didn't have but literally like a minute of nausea. It was a bit uncomfortable, but I was not at all in agonizing pain like I've heard some people talk about. But I do have a pretty high tolerance for pain. But no matter what, it's worth it. So anyway, it took me probably a little over a year to finish losing my weight. Now I've put some of it back on, but I do find that it's easier for me to take it back off, and that's what I'm in the process of doing now, trying to get it back off. Well, a year after my brother and I had our surgery, my husband decided that he wanted to have it also. So he did, and he's been very successful. He looks amazing, and I thought I would show you some before and after pictures of all of us. Sorry, just a second. Here's me. Here's me the morning of my surgery. I was extremely overweight. Let's see. This is not a very good picture, but I didn't think to get a picture of my brother that morning. Oh, sorry, just a minute. Before his surgery, and so I took a picture from my hospital room. It jumped back just a minute. Took a picture of him from inside my hospital room that morning, and so it's kind of blurry, and I don't know what's going on here. I'm not able to, it's not letting me find it. Anyway, I'm going to pause you and find this picture just a second. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so as you can see, this is a blurry picture, but this is my brother the day of surgery. He's all in his hospital gown and ready to go. And here we are. I believe this was about a year after our surgery. So it was amazing. Now, I'm not going to say that the surgery is the answer, because you do have to be careful about what you eat. And I was very, very strict about using MyFitnessPal. I used it every single day. And I exercised. I tried to exercise 4, 5, or 6 days a week, an hour and a half to 2 hours a day at home. I did Zumba. I rode the stationary bike, and I didn't do extremely difficult. Like I said, when I'd get the tour of my craft room, I ride the bicycle while I didn't watch podcasts. So I'm not doing like a spin class kind of riding. And I've done some yoga and some weights at home. I don't have any heavy weights, but it all helped us a lot. So a year later, when my husband had his, we ended up going to Tijuana because we got a deal. My brother and I did when we went to Puerto Vallarta, and it was much more expensive the following year if my husband had chosen to go there. Now that would have been my first choice because it's just a beautiful place to go. But this is my husband on the day of his surgery, and the girl next to him was his surgery coordinator, very sweet girl. I believe her name was, Carla. She was awesome. And this was my husband and I, let's see, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. 8 months after his surgery. He lost a lot faster than I did. So here we were 8 months later. So it has been a huge benefit to all three of us. We feel better about ourselves. We feel better physically. And if it's something that you have thought about, I do strongly recommend it. We did gastric sleeve. I think gastric bypass has some issues that sleeve does not. And I know that some of my friends and family have had the, I can't think what you call it. Hang on. Okay, it's lap band surgery. And I've had friends that have had very scary, dangerous things happen to them because of their lap band surgery. So I knew that that's not the direction I wanted to go. Anyway, I just wanted to give you a little background of our weight loss and how it changed our lives. I'll talk to y'all tomorrow. Bye.